Hi. So you guys haven't seen my face in a minute. Um, Due to the ever lasting, or I don't know what to even refer to this insanity as. But it all started back in July. It is now going to be October, um, on I think Monday. Yeah. So on July 22nd, a superintendent in Hall County decided that he was going to break every single code as it pertains to ethics, OCGA, everything that he's to abide by if he wants to keep his accreditation with Cognia, the Georgia School Board Association, and SACS. Now, at first, I was like, okay, well, maybe they're not paying Cognia. But I found the line items in every single budget where they pay the ransom to keep the accreditation with Cognia. I also find that they have paid SACS for accreditation. I've also found I was able to find everything that led back to the Georgia School Board Association. And that's kind of what like got me started on this path was because I recognized something in the board meeting notes, and it was a self-evaluation, meaning that the school board themselves administered their ethics training with nobody there to actually train them. They just said yes and okay, we did that. And then they did something really weird. They told them they said because in order to get this award that they wanted, that apparently they got last year from the Georgia School Board Association. So you're doing a bang up job on that, by the way. The assessment itself was just disgusting and stupid because they lied throughout the entire self-assessment. Then I go and I look to see, oh, hey, look, they nominated themselves to be in super duper district. You guys have heard this. I've talked about this. I'm just gonna say it again though. This started when I came across that and I saw that they submitted this to the Georgia School Board Association with their training, stating that they were not on the SB 68 list. The SB 68 list being the naughty list with the state of Georgia. You're on a corrective action plan for fiscal mismanagement. They've been on there since 23. They're also on a corrective action plan with the feds. They had a lot of contracts and bids being awarded out of a bucket, out of a ledger that is only to be used for children inside special ed. The DOA audit revealed that they were out of compliance with that yet again. It's happened numerous times. This was not the first time. So they were only allowed to keep out of that 200 million that they were using. They were only allowed to keep 65 million because those were already things that had been paid out to contractors for bids that they had won. But again, they were placed on a corrective action plan by the feds and by the Georgia DOE. So me being me going down rabbit holes, I continued to dig. I was like, surely people know. I didn't realize how much people didn't know in this district until I posted something as simple as a drill down to show the proficiency scores at every school in third grade. Everyone lost their minds. They acted as if they'd never seen something like that. And furthermore, they got offended. And I was like, yo, I am not attacking you. Please, as teachers, understand. I put these dashboards out there every year because the Georgia DOE has a really bad habit of sucking when it comes to delivering data. So I do it myself. And everybody knows that. But this is the only district that got mad. So that let me know that nobody in this district is actually being transparent with stakeholders. I've touched on that before. That balanced scorecard, which you're mandatory, like, so that's a mandatory thing. You can't just say, oh, here's stuff. Every district in the state of Georgia is to have the balanced scorecard on the front page of the district website. Furthermore, you are to update that score chart every year. Or actually if you're one of the districts that I typically work with, you do it multiple times a year. But what I found on your notes as it pertains to that balanced scorecard was that Tim Cochran, that Risa over at Pioneer Risa, Tim Cochran was the one that delivered the presentation to the work session, which, prior to about 2 months ago, people in Hall County were not aware that they 100% could come to work sessions. So you're welcome. So when I came across the minutes and I saw that Tim Cochran, the very same individual who put an email that he was best friends and really close to Will Schofield, and he had been so for 10 years, then he went on to say he enjoyed DSG and that his RISAs loved training other RISAs on it, and it was taking off in all the districts. Now, why am I naming names versus being vague? Well, quite frankly, when you have a superintendent who has been sent a cease and desist and also been instructed to preserve his data, all of the data, the entire district was told anything in text message, anything you deem confidential, anything that you post online, anything you have in your emails, anything you have said about 4 people, all right, maybe one, you are to preserve that data. Specifically, preserve the data regarding DSG due to nuking Infinite Campus when my client made you aware or made the public aware that these forms had been placed in Infinite Campus, and if you did not sign them, your children were going to be enrolled in a research study. Now, the timing of this, that was the same day that Tim Cochran, in an email with using the same attorneys that the Hall County School District uses, that was the same day that I revealed my hand and told him, well, it's a shame that you're making this so difficult for everybody, because I'm very well aware that your lawyers instructed staff over the summer in professional development not to worry about that document. They told them, don't worry, people need to get used to Infinite Campus, but we're good. We're okay, because as far as people being told or needing to know, technically we did our job because we hit upload. They don't read it, it's their fault. That was the message, and I revealed that in the email. And people inside the state of Georgia can't say you didn't see that email, because you did. Everybody at the Georgia BOE, everybody at the Georgia DOE, everybody at Cognia, everybody at the Georgia School Board Association, I have put absolutely, and wait, let me roll back. Everybody at the Southern Poverty Law Center, everybody at all these nonprofits out here trying to do work for kids and literacy. Where are you? You have been reading these emails. You see the horrid crap going on, and you're just like, oh, okay. Anyway, moving on. Thanks for that, by the way. I just wanted to give you guys a shout out for not doing anything. You're not a nonprofit. You are a for-profit, and you love clickbait articles. That's all you care about. That's all you've ever cared about. And guess what? You still haven't removed Ragsdale, so your original mission has failed, and it's funny. Moving on. That's my own vendetta. Within that email, the entire state of Georgia, all the people that need to know, Cognia, Georgia School Board Association, Georgia Board of Education, Georgia Department of Education, they found out that RISA was clapping back at me and refusing to give me records that I had requested that are legally supposed to be mine. He is a public employee. My tax dollars paid for his job. He would not receive monies if it weren't for tax-paying citizens in the state of Georgia. That's how RISAs get paid. RISAs are public government-facing individuals who are not immune to having records pulled. Nothing of theirs is protected under some weird loophole they want. Nothing. So had Tim Cochran done something as simple as just sent me the financial records I asked him for, which he agreed to. Had he sent me that information, maybe I wouldn't be up in Hall County's business. Maybe I would have walked away. But I digress. Your RISA was out of line. Now, let's also talk about somebody else that's in Hall County. Two people. Sean Owen, who is in charge of special education for the entire state of Georgia. She lives in the same neighborhood as one of the original moms who made us aware of what was going on in this district. Hi, Sean. How you doing? Then there's another lovely person who, come hell or high water, she's going to go down with the ship. She works for the Georgia Department of Education and Special Ed too. I'm not going to say her name because she's a citizen. Sean is a public-facing employee who's also employed by a government agency, so I can say her name all I want. So these individuals have known about all the things going on in this district, and they knew that the RISAs were involved. Now, if you work with people under the Gold Dome, I'm sorry, let me take that back. I don't even want to say that. If you work with anybody at the state, they're going to tell you they don't like RISAs. There's a reason for the reason they don't like RISAs. And there's a reason that us as advocates don't like the RISAs. And it's because they're sketchy. And it's because half the time we catch them doing worse than the school district. I can't tell you how many IEP meetings I've been in with a RISA, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Please hush. You are making this worse. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, you literally just regurgitated Lucy Calkins to me. Like, please be quiet. You are making the meeting worse. I think that was a Muskogee County RISA. Yeah, that definitely was. That was the one where the caseworker was upset and got in her feelings and hung up and said, God had a calling for her and it wasn't that meeting. Moving on. So everybody in the state of Georgia has a disdain for RISAs because RISAs are technically supposed to be held to a higher standard than your run-of-the-mill teachers. They get paid an obscene amount of money to do things like, I don't know, deliver professional development, take things like the Georgia dyslexia endorsement, administer that endorsement, meaning assist public school teachers in the state of Georgia to obtain that endorsement. That's not an easy endorsement. They also are now teaching cohorts in letters. Okay? Which, whomever thought it was a good idea to allow RISAs to train teachers in the state of Georgia on letters, you really need to go read the fine print in that contract. And just stay with me so you'll understand why. So this all goes back to Tim Cochran bucking, then using an attorney from Hall County to get out of trouble. Well, at least he thought. And then me making sure the rest of the state knew what he was doing. And then as soon as I put this stuff in email regarding the forms that were inside Infinite Campus that the attorneys had informed teachers were legal, as soon as I made the public aware of that in that email went out, within 10 minutes, Infinite Campus went down in Hall County. Just crash and burn. Oops. I wonder why that happened. And the best part is, let me get to this. This is the best part. Hold on. You're actually on recording. A mom called you, talked to the individual in charge of IT in that district, and asked, hey, is Infinite Campus down for everyone or just Hall County? And you replied, just Hall County. Weird. Infinite Campus is on a hosted server. Everybody knows it's a cloud-based hosted platform. What are you doing? Why would you even say that to somebody? Oh, wait, I know why. Because you think everybody in this district is stupid. Moving on. When Infinite Campus finally came back up, there were some forms missing. Weird. Except, no, not weird at all. Because I knew that exactly what would happen. See, the thing is, Hall County is out here doing things that I've seen another district do before. But because of me being me and not taking no as an answer, they stopped doing those things. They still make mistakes, but they don't do those things anymore. Because the guy that was actually leading the whole friends and family thing initiative, yeah, that's the superintendent I got fired. It's just fun. Anyway, let me continue on my path. So unfortunately for Hall County and the attorneys that represent Hall County, parents took screenshots of everything. When I made them aware of those forms in Infinite Campus that they all knew that they had hit decline on, they went in and immediately took screenshots, and it literally said decline, but underneath the status it says pending, as in nobody had bothered to go into Infinite Campus and actually close it out, meaning you were just going to ignore the parent with the consent form saying decline. So when Infinite Campus came back up, another thing happened. What I found out was all of a sudden, everybody in the district got a text message or an email, meaning staff. Yes, your staff is 100% talking to me, by the way, Will Schofield. The problem hasn't been coming from outside sources. The problem is your staff is coming to me. Your staff has been coming to me as well as everybody else. So the problem isn't me. I'm not soliciting any of this information. These folks are happy that I'm actually out here exposing everything they know to be true. Moving on. I was then informed that day when Infinite Campus went down, instead of the staff being sent an email from that would be forwarded from Infinite Campus saying about an outage, the head of IT, that the same guy that said it was only down for Hall County, he's the one that sent the email to all the staff about Infinite Campus being down. Weird. That's not how it works in any district across the state of Georgia. So sorry. I'm getting a little giddy because it's just really, it's sad. Because at every opportunity where you've had the ability to prevent yourself from getting into trouble, you have done a bang up job of getting in more trouble. So let's keep going. I was then made aware that those forms that went missing, the assessment was going to take place in September. They pushed the assessment back. That assessment is now set to start next week. To parents in this district, this assessment is not gauging anything academically. It is not gauging anything that benefits your child. This assessment, whether you opted in or not, I'm going to guess they don't care, because what they did is they sent the forms home, and then they also sent mass messages via Remind 101, making sure parents were aware that they needed to sign paperwork if they didn't want their child to be used in a research study to make sure that DSG became evidence-based and peer-reviewed. Yeah, so they pushed that assessment back because, oops, they got caught. Well, now they're going to be starting that assessment next week. Now, again, Hall County is really big on opting out of assessments, which you should, 100%. I'm very pro opt out of milestones. I hate milestones. If you're gonna do something, do maps. Take the maps testing. That's the best gauge you're gonna get on your kid. But milestones, no, opt out. And then this assessment they're going to be doing, it's not going to be doing anything academically. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be probing your child's mental health. They're going to be asking questions. And then those questions are going to make their way to a random person that they have convinced to study the curriculum that the Schofields own outright. So, as far as what this curriculum is, it is not skills therapy. It is not coping mechanisms. I don't care what Will Schofield says. I don't care what the Board of Education chair says. I don't care what anybody in that district says. I don't care about anybody and their talking points and how to distract from the task at hand, because I've seen it enough. I've seen y'all all do it. And I caught you, Will Schofield, and your wife presenting at a conference at the Jimmy Carter Center for the behavioral health committee that David Ralston was very proud of. Now, I looked at the roster of people presenting. I looked at the roster of people who were placed on that committee. They all have legitimate credentials, as in medical credentials. They all have degrees to work with children at the capacity that you and your wife think you are able to do. But the thing is, you don't. You're a math teacher. Hold on just a second. Hold on. Okay, back to what I was talking about. Life. I have one. I have a husband. I have kids. They'd like their mom and their wife back. And I would like my life back. I would also like to not be triggered. I would enjoy not reliving the hell I've already been through at the hands of one superintendent. I would enjoy not being paranoid to the point that every time I see my Ring cameras go off, I swear to you, I can't. Let me roll back. Let me get back on the kids. Because what you've done to me, what you've done to these mamas, you're going to find out real quick that the person that you poked at, the person who, me, I repeatedly told you, don't poke. I told you. I told the whole district. I told your lawyers. But what'd you do? What'd you do, Will? What'd you do? We'll get to that in a second. That's why you're getting this lovely video. So this assessment that they're administering on children, it's not official. It's not anything for academics. It's not going to make your child's life better. It's not going to make them smarter. It's not going to do anything for them other than give this random third party who has agreed to do a peer-reviewed research on this made-up curriculum created by Joyce Schofield. Only it wasn't just Joyce Schofield. So I'm naming names in this video. This is not slander. This is facts. Will Schofield, you showed your hand in an email, and that's why we received a pending litigation letter within 10 minutes. Because you thought you were replying to a mom. The mom that filed a complaint because you refused to hand over records. Again, your refusal to hand over records at every level is what got y'all into trouble. This is why we are all up in your business. You can't withhold someone's records, especially if the child has an IEP. Have you lost your mind? And then for Carla Swafford to have the nerve to hide behind an attorney. I said, because I knew it to be factual, as of 2023, your superintendent was on record in the media that he would not codify that law that said parents had the ability to request the curriculum inside the school. Carla Swafford all of a sudden found some random piece of paper about codifying that rule. No, you did not. It is not in your board minutes anywhere, ma'am. You never adopted it, and you know you didn't. But your lawyers made sure that it looked that way, right? So this is all because of records. That's all it is. When a parent of a child on an IEP says, I would like any and all records as it pertains to my child, and that includes curriculum, that includes emails, that includes teachers' notes, you don't get to say no to them. You must oblige by that. Then, furthermore, you must get it to them in a timely fashion. But thanks to the good old boy mentality here in Georgia, thinking that they were going to use this parental rights bill to somehow find the CRT boogeyman, that just backfired gloriously, because that piece of legislation says you're supposed to get those records back to us within 3 days, and we're not supposed to have to pay for anything. Told you that too, but you still doubled down and you still sent an attorney, and then you still told that mom, well, we have things that you can look over if you want to come to the Board of Education office and go over them. No, ma'am. What did I tell you in email? I told you that mom was not going to step foot on your property because you had already been threatening us with litigation. But instead of doing what you know you're supposed to do, you doubled down and you kept throwing a lawyer in emails. I told you that last time. I was like, Carla, do not put Corey Kirby in this email one more time. Do not do it. You did it. And then what happened? Who is the person that got y'all put on a gag order? Who is the person that screwed up so wonderfully with the attorney, meaning, the attorney-client thing? Who was it that revealed the name of the woman that created the curriculum for K through 5? It was Will Schofield. He, in the email reply back to the mom about the complaint, he named her. We already knew her name. We already knew who she was. You confirmed it for us. Thanks, Will. We know that Renee has at least 23 aliases. She goes by 5 of them. 5. I have found her under every iteration of her name regarding her credentials. Got access to the MPI database. If you work in healthcare, you know what that means. If you don't work in healthcare, if you're a social worker, if you are a counselor, you probably don't know what an MPI database is. The reason is because you don't have the credentials to be in said database, looking around and looking people up, do you? I can, because I work in healthcare. Weird. So the thing is, this entire time that y'all have been out here screaming up and up, oh, they're credentialed. They've got So I went to the Georgia PSC. I ran everybody's name under the student support section on your Hall County website, because I knew that those were the individuals that were administering DSG to children in the K through 5 setting all the way up to 12th grade. And guess what? There were a good number of them that don't have valid credentials for anything. The parapros that are administering this stuff on your kids, by the way, Hall County, to the public, the parapros turned, I don't even know what they're talking about. I think it's like they're Cassies, whatever that made up term is. I actually thought it was a real thing, and then I looked it up. I'm like, oh dear God, they have a made up title. So yeah, those people are parapros who don't even have an active license with the Georgia PSC, which means they are not legally allowed to work with your children. They're not even legally allowed to do something like be in the same classroom with them or interpret anything for them. But that's what the Schofields want you thinking. They want you thinking that that person working with your child is credentialed. Unfortunately, they're not. They're not even certified under, there's 2 areas that you can get credentialed by in the state of Georgia. If you are a therapist, a counselor, whatever, they're not on the main one. The main one would be the Secretary of State site. They're not there. Then there's I think it's called like LCPAA. It's like some random garbage accreditation, but I digress. They still have it. They don't have anything under there either. I have a lot of apps and I have a lot of things that check the backgrounds of everybody. And I have these because I'm an advocate. I have to make sure that the people that are coming into contact with kids that I work with have the credentials to do so. So I've already known, I knew you guys did not have the appropriate credentials to do any of the things that you're doing to the kids in this district. So let's carry on here. Who's blowing me up in text message on? Okay. So let's carry on. Let's get to it. So what ended up happening when your boss, Will Schofield, sent my dear friend, that I've known since our kids, we met in pre-K. Our boys are in 9th grade now. What happened when you emailed her, Will, and you had Kirby? Oh, that's right. You thought you were talking to Renee, didn't you? You sent that to a parent. You sent that to a parent of a child who is actually under under the guise of skills group. That's what it was sold to us as, skills group. So that mom that you sent all the tea to, she has 2 children that you administered that curriculum to. One of the 2 did something so horrid as a direct correlation to skills group, otherwise known as SEAD. She did something so horrible, we had to unenroll those kids. She went from being a little to suicidal quick. Best part, worst part, actually. So we wanted to make sure we were on the right path, right? We don't want to show our cards until we know we're on the right path. So that mom was sitting there. Her and I had to go back into these places in our brain we don't like, and we watched the videos that were attached to the SEAD newsletters that mom was instructed to watch with her children. And I remember this because we were laughing because it said something about a lizard man or something. I don't know. That's one of them. And so baby girl that had the really bad reaction, she heard that video playing. And she said, Mama, that's not the video, but that's definitely one of the videos that they used to make us watch in skills group. And then she went into depth. What took place in skills group? What took place in SEAD? What you did inside that group? And what you've done to kids in these groups. These children will never, ever be able to trust a therapist or a counselor ever again in their life. And you want to know why? Because we immediately tried to get her in with a therapist and a counselor outside of Hall County. She would not go. Would not go. Did not trust a counselor, did not trust a therapist, refused. Like, she was not having it. Also, the other daughter, who is oh so compliant, she's the sweet one. She's the one that wants to make everybody happy. She all of a sudden started bucking, wanting out of school really quick, which is weird because she really loves school. So yeah, we unenrolled both of the kids. And then we unenrolled another family. And so on and so on. Because that's what I do now. Instead of trying to salvage things inside public school in this district, I make sure parents have options, meaning you can homeschool your child. If you can't, let me find you other options. That's what I do. See, I'm not actually out to get anybody. I'm not out to go, aha, I caught you. Aha, that's not what I do. What I do is help moms of kids that are in a tight spot. Because I was that mom. Cannot say that enough. I was that mom. So that's going to bring me to this. You received the cease and desist email, motion from my attorney. Because you immediately tossed the main partner at your law firm at us with the dumbest motion or the dumbest email I've ever seen anyone send. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh dear God, it's not even confidential. They don't even have it. They're not sending it through any encryption. There's no passwords. There's no sign this. There's no if you talk, nothing. It's that. If there was incredible anything, a law firm would have encrypted that and made it confidential, but they didn't do that, did they? No, they didn't. Y'all were trying to threaten us. That's fine. But when you did that, that's when you showed your hand, because the day before you told us to preserve all of our data on Facebook, I'd already called your bluff. Because remember, I sent y'all an email saying, I'm done. I'm walking away from this hot mess. I did that because I know when I leave, that's when y'all going to show your cards. It happens all the time. So I left, but not really. I wanted to see what you do. And immediately, here come the lawyers. Here comes everybody sliding up in the emails with attorneys. Parents can't even ask a question if they have a child in special ed without Kirby showing up in the emails. I'm going to say your name repeatedly because I've got proof of Corey Kirby and Will Schofield in my emails. I don't have a kid in that district. So I am free to talk about this. Oh, and by the way, the next time you send records to a mom who is 100% entitled to those records, maybe don't have an attitude when you send it to them. That's not really professional. It's really tacky. And it's really gross as an attorney. I'm kind of starting to understand why you're not a partner now. Because you basically do all the work for Will. You do everything that you can to make sure that you distract everybody. Only you're not distracting people anymore, are you? So when my attorney sent the cease and desist to y'all, things got a little weird, didn't it? All of a sudden, y'all got quiet. All of a sudden, your board minutes, your board agenda started to be filled out appropriately with detail, which again, you were not doing. Got plenty of proof of that. You started to do things like, oh, I don't know, place things out on your district website that should have been there the whole time. You still haven't given people the data. Let me hit that real quick because I forgot. Yeah, Tim Cochran was the one that was actually present at that meeting where they were presenting student data to the board during a work session. And if you go and you hit that link for that particular one to see the data, you can't get in it. Guess what? That's not legal. That is data that is attached to children in Hall County. That data is supposed to be readily available on your district website per the state of Georgia. Every district in this state has it except for y'all. So there's that one too. So you might want to go unlock that link because I'm about to go post that link so everybody can try and get into it. Moving forward, because this is there's a lot, right? Look, so I'm gonna give y'all a hint. The longer you mess with me, the more you mess with me, the longer I'm gonna stay up in your business. And the longer I stay up in your business, the worse it's gonna get for you because I'm gonna find absolutely everything. And I have found everything. Well, not everything, obviously, but I have found a lot of interesting stuff, including the amount of land that Nathan Dill gifted you. Now, the deeds look like what they look like. But then if you're somebody like me and the people that have been working on this tirelessly 24/7, those deeds look really weird considering you. I'm not going to get into your personal details, but I'm just going to say this about that land. I got the plot map and I got the plot, the aerial, I got your plot number, all that stuff. And I went and I looked. I'm like, weird. All of this right here should be taxed or in a conservation, something like that. Nope. So we're not just dealing with special ed. We're not dealing with just mental health experiments on kids. We're not just dealing with an egomaniac who has his board out here taking one for the team instead of being a man and just saying, oops, I effed up and quit. Your board can't fire you because if they fire you, they still have to pay you. Every single one of your contracts has your board on somewhat of a gag order. If I were a board rep in Hall County, I would be livid, knowing that I couldn't fire you, knowing that all the attorneys are circling around you, knowing that your business is being aired to everybody now. If I were a board rep, I would do something like, I don't know, my job. I would fire my employee. But no, these folks can't fire you because your contract is blackmail. Ask me how I know that one. Oh, wait, let me tell you. Let me go back to the beginning of the story. My superintendent that I got fired, he had the same kind of contract. The reason I got him fired was because he was covering up unethical behavior from staff inside the school district, including the physical and mental abuse bestowed upon my son and the police records. He made them disappear. Unfortunately, I had the physical copies and I had all the emails to prove that it had, in fact, been filed and that he did, in fact, name that teacher, first and last name, as a threat. I handed that over to my Board of Education, and that man was fired the following Monday. So that brings me to now. I'm missing about 18 other items out of everything we got. I'm missing about 18. I'm gonna let those ride. I'm gonna bring you up to speed. I'm gonna put this out there. My lawyer's gonna get mad. That's fine. I don't care. I am convinced that there is nobody in this state that has the balls to deal with this. You want to know why? Because the name Nathan Dill's attached to it. Really, guys? Really? Especially to people under the gold dome that know me. Especially to the people that dared me and told me, good luck, he's the golden boy, you'll never get him. I got him, didn't I? We got him with that really bad complaint. But again, that complaint never saw the light of day in the media. I wonder why. Oh, that's right. God, I forgot. Your affiliation with Cox Media Group. Found that too. AJC, that's why they gave you that loving, that good press for DSG. That's because of your affiliation with their philanthropic efforts. So they're basically on your payroll. And then, oh God, what else? I mean, there's so much. There's so much I could go with. But right now, what I'm going to stick with is this. Will Schofield, you put my name in an email after you'd been told to cease and desist and to keep your damn mouth shut. You were told that. My lawyer told you. He said to preserve everything too. So that email that you sent where you named me without the individual soliciting that information, you may think you're cute, but I assure you, due to my diagnosed disabilities that are well documented, like I said, you will get in trouble for that. You will be tortured slowly for that. And I will enjoy every single second of it. I'm going to make sure it's as painful as it possibly can be. That's if I can actually find somebody in this state that has the balls to actually, I don't know, choose kids over their political aspirations. What is wrong with y'all? And I'm going to make sure that they know who they are. Y'all know who I am because we've all said we have each other. We've been in the same place. So why does your political career matter more than what I have provided you regarding kids? Why are you going to conferences under the guise of being a change maker in the state of Georgia, knowing damn well you ain't done nothing to help this situation? Nothing. If you get mad at me, fine, get mad. Get mad. You're a lawyer. You know better. And I'm not making empty threats. I will make sure every single person in the state of Georgia that had anything to do with literacy legislation is banned from the conference circuit. I'm already working on it. So good luck. Good luck. That's how pissed I am. Because what y'all have allowed to happen, my trauma, my PTSD, my lived experience, my everything that I sued DeKalb County for the first time has now been reignited. Because you have sat back and you have read every single email and you have said nothing. You have done nothing. I was told not to go nuclear. Don't do it. It appears I should have, because I continued to do it. To the point now that I have them in their board meeting for Monday making horrid comments referring to us as bloggers, which, I'm copied in an email who you sent that very terminology towards. You call us bloggers. And then you accosted a stakeholder again. You accosted a stakeholder again. And the board allowed you to do it. And then, here's the icing on top. Somebody related to Nathan Dill asked you a question. Your board reps should have this seared into the back of their brains. They had to go to Corey Kirby to get him to answer that. You know why? Because Corey has been telling y'all the wrong information for years. It's okay, though. He's making money. He's getting his kickback. He's probably got a nice, cushy little side thing that he's able to roll off of in the event he loses his license. But igniting my trauma, igniting my PTSD, igniting my panic attacks. I've not eaten. I've lost 10 pounds within the past month. I have no appetite. I can't take my medication that I need to take, because if I do, it will really prevent me from eating. I'm on edge nonstop. I am paranoid nonstop. I'm having flashbacks to absolutely everything that I went through. The amount of harm you've caused to me mentally and physically is not acceptable. But I can't find anybody in this abysmal state or in this state to do a damn thing about y'all because of Nathan Dill. When I do find somebody, when I do find that law firm that has balls bigger than mine or all the other women that are out here standing 10 toes down, bucking at you, when I find that law firm, I am going to make sure I'm compensated well. Because quite frankly, I've been doing this for 3 years in your district, and I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to see your face. I don't want to hear your voice. I don't want to hear a word about this district. I don't want to know half of what I now know. Why am I going through deeds? This is where my brain's at now. I'm going through deeds. I'm going through titles. I am going through, the business license that, by the way, was 100% given to your wife, which obviously shows the post date. Y'all, you could have done something as easy as not, allowed it to come to somebody with the applied for date being 8/7/2024 with a 2023 business license. Yeah, and it's not signed, so that's not legal either. Oops, weird how that works. Everybody is in bed with y'all in Hall County. It all leads back to the same person. You know, my mama told me when I started doing this, Lauren, these good old boys, you got to be careful of them. They play dirty. She's like, you can go take care of those folks in the city. These good old boys, they stubborn and they'll do some stuff. I was like, whatever. I know them. I used to hang out with them. Let's go. Man, I ain't seen evil until I met y'all. Y'all the most evil people I've ever met in my life. I'm talking about every single person that sits on that board, every single person that works inside central office, every single person that's enabled this at the state, which was really fun, by the way. Hey, Will, go look at the YouTube video of the Georgia Board of Education meeting yesterday. There's a spot in the meeting where all of a sudden everybody starts looking down at their emails during the meeting because I sent them proof. Remember how I've said online for years, I've just been sitting on data. Well, everybody at the Georgia Board of Education meeting got to see that data yesterday, and it was everything that we've legally obtained on DSG, including the manuals. They got to read those. Doctor's notes. Will, your wife is not clinically certified to do anything like that. A social worker is not clinically certified to do anything under the terms of doctor's notes. Not even remotely. Then there's the really, I'm so sorry to have to tell you, but your wife literally verbatim put Marsha Linehan's name inside the book. Thus, copyright claims, which your board is legally allowed to fire you over because you released them from harm from that. It's kind of awkward that we see all that now. But yeah, your board isn't going to do anything. They're going to let their careers go down in flames. One of them's supposed to have a job that's way high up in the food chain. I don't know how he sleeps at night, but I know he's happy to get out of there. There's another one that rolled off because he got into an elected position. Well, unfortunately for him, I know the other half of that family. They live out here where I live. They don't like their relatives in Hall County at all. I knew the moment I saw his name, I was like, oh, here it is. This is the tie back. Because we all know, like I said, we all know there's a tie back to these small communities. That tie back was the easiest thing to find. So, yeah, my attorney's going to get mad. This is an hour long, whatever. My attorney's going to get mad, everybody. But you know what? Here's the thing. Where you messed up was you put my name in an email, you violated my confidentiality, and you did so on purpose. You wanted to see what I did, what I would do. And what did I do? I let everybody see just a little nugget of what I have. And that little nugget takes out more than just you, it takes out a lot of elected officials in this state that were taking ESSER funds for construction projects. So please stop calling my bluff. To the people that know me personally, I warned you. I gave you way too many chances. Way too many chances. No, not even the women at the Georgia Board of Education who usually care about what happens to kids are absolved of this. You've been reading my emails and acting as if you didn't read them. Really? Because in the board meeting yesterday, when I sent the email and the text messages, your eyes about popped out of your head and you were just scrolling. You gonna do anything about it? You know who I'm talking about. No, I ain't talking about you, Martha. I'm talking about one of the other two. You've always been you. So I'm gonna wrap this up. But legally speaking, I'm covered. Because what you sent to me, what you sent to us, isn't legal. What my lawyer sent to you was legal and binding. And you've done such a great job of violating that. You're going to be hard pressed to find anybody that will back you on anything. or want to represent you. I don't know why you still haven't, I don't even know why a law firm would still have you as a client. I don't, unless they want to lose their bar license, which somebody may or may not be working on filing against right now as I speak. So enjoy the video. I am now going to go get ready for the things that I'm supposed to do, but I will warn you one more time, last time. If you mess with what I do for kids across the country, if you mess with anything that I'm on and that I'm a part of, I will have corporate law firms on top of you, because the individuals that I help are livid. They're livid because I'm supposed to be doing things, PR stuff. But instead, I can't do anything because you're so creepy. I had to lock my public advocacy page down, didn't I? I didn't lock it down because I'm scared. I locked it down because you creepy. You are weird. Extremely weird. So, enjoy watching this. Squirm, don't squirm. I don't care. By the way, Cognia, you suck. We as a state need to stop paying Cognia for accreditation because Andre Harrison don't do anything. Neither does Emily Klein. The Georgia School Board Association, Georgia School Board Association is nothing more than another arm of the Georgia DOE. They over here turning their head like nothing happened. Weird. Except not at all. You're all in bed together. That's why we can't find anybody to actually come do what needs to be done, which is take you and put you in handcuffs and physically remove you. Because as I said, we have the data to prove what you're doing to children. You did it to two of my kids. Those kids will be taken care of, as will their parents. And stop calling CPS on parents in this district. Stop. That's gross. But I am glad that Hall County is finally getting to see the true colors of their superintendent, and they're no longer living in some dystopian hellscape of 1984 and taking your word as gospel. You are not a godly man. That phrase has been used often. You are not a godly man. You are of the Southern Baptist Church, sir, the same church Nathan Dill's from. And I know damn well what happens in that church because I became agnostic at the age of 8 due to that database say keep on folks and the Southern Baptist Church. Because y'all start grooming kids at a really young age, but y'all didn't want to let people know that. Y'all wanted to make it a boogeyman and go after somebody else for grooming. Guess who's doing the grooming? It's the Southern Baptist Church. Everybody knows that because we all been through it. So, hopefully this gets everything out in the air. Hopefully it's out in the open. Hopefully somebody will grow a pair. Somebody maybe will give a shit about kids. But I'm done. I'm done hiding. I'm done hiding my face. I'm done hiding or not being me. I'm not going to let you ruin my life after I've been through hell and back. That district I sued twice. I'm on the superintendent's council. That right there should tell you I'm not an evil person. I did it because of things that happened that were out of control of the people that are in place now. That's why I had to sue. It had nothing to do with my principal, nothing to do with the women inside central office. It had everything to do with a superintendent identical to you who refused to fire teachers that harm children. You got a couple of them and still left in some schools. And you know which one I'm talking about. So, whatever. Get in your feelings, don't get in your feelings, get mad, get angry, turn 5 different colors of red, turn purple. I don't care. The fact that you have a clause in your contract regarding your health and that you get to choose the doctor that will write the letter to the Board of Education, homie, that ain't normal. Everybody that's read your contracts have been like, I'm sorry, what is this? including other superintendents. They're very, very worried about that clause inside your public facing documentation of your contract that Ben Anderson from the Times was lovely enough to post in an article for you. So again, obtain legally. All right. I'm done with y'all. Bye bye. Well, not done. I'm done right now.